Hey guys, it's Julie Malillo here in Manhattan. I'm a life coach. My website is yourdreamslifecoach.com. And I'm just gonna do a little rant today. It's frustrating to me because I was just walking around Manhattan because this is where I live in the Upper East. And I don't know, I feel like the vibe lately is such a depressing vibe out there. And I don't think it's just in New York. It's something I've really noticed, especially in the last year or so. And I wanted to talk a bit about that and some of the reasons I think that that's happening and what you can do about it if you feel that you've kind of sunk into a rut or a depressed place. And it's not your fault if you have, because there's, a lot of stuff just going on that I think contributes to this depressed feeling. When I walk down the street, I see people, and these are the main things that I notice. Most people, almost everybody, looks really, really unhealthy. And it's not just a weight thing, it's like an energy thing. When you watch people walk, they don't walk with energy, they don't walk with enthusiasm or excitement. And guys, this is New York. This is our city of fast walkers, and people are just not really walking all that fast anymore. They look sick to me. The general population is becoming very, very chronically ill. And I'm sure this is no surprise to anybody. I'm sure you know someone who's chronically ill if you yourself aren't, or you might be dealing with symptoms and not really sure if you're chronically ill. You just know you don't feel good. You might always have headaches. You might always be tired. Your stomach might be upset. You might not sleep well. You might have anxiety, depression. This stuff is so common. And when you have health problems like that, it does affect your mental health. There are studies on mice showing that mice that have gut infections automatically get depression and anxiety. And it's very obvious and measurable because these are mice, guys. So they can't tell the mouse, hey, mouse, it's all in your head. Just go to therapy and get it together, because it's a mouse, right? They don't have mice therapy. So they just observe, like they put the mouse in a situation, and whereas before they would explore, now they're all terrified and they just stay in the corner, or they just seem depressed and they're not interacting with their mice friends, and that's because they gave these mice a stomach infection. So our guts are very not healthy in the U.S., and I think this is one thing that's contributing to that downer vibe out there. So what can you do about it? Obviously, you can start to improve your health, which is like not very easy to do. Don't get me wrong, it's not just diet and exercise. Let me say that again. It's not just diet and exercise. So people have been blaming you, telling you it's your fault because you need to diet and exercise. It's not. It's so complicated. You have insulin resistance, you have diseases, you have so many things that it's not always easy or even possible to lose weight. But it is possible if you keep backtracking and going back to the root of it. You can improve it. And I'm improving my own health, as I have been for years, because I was living in hidden water damage. I had a very bad roof leak in my apartment that I had no idea was there, and I was living there for 8 years with like all kinds of gross stuff growing in the walls that I was breathing in, and it really messed up my immune system, and I'm still getting better. I did get rid of, out of my 120 symptoms, I got rid of 111. And then ever since, I've been working on those remaining symptoms, which are improving slowly, 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 but with a lot of discipline and a lot of protocols, I'm improving. And I can tell you, it definitely gives you depression and anxiety when you have these illnesses, not because you're depressed about the illness, but just the physical sickness in your body causes you to have all kinds of like sad thoughts or anxious thoughts that otherwise aren't there. And I know for me, day to day, nothing would change in my life. If anything, maybe I'm having a better day than yesterday, and I'm just like crying or anxious for absolutely no reason. And that's why I really know that it's true. So much of your psychology is physical, and it's how how messed up your gut is. Is it swollen? Is it infected? And your brain too. Your brain gets infected too. People don't realize that your brain can get infected the same way your sinuses get infected. And then it's all swollen and inflamed, and that presses on things in your brain, and that messes with things too. So that's a whole other discussion, but the point is your health controls so much, guys, and your motivation and all these things. So sometimes, like, I've had clients who thought that they were lazy and they really weren't lazy. They were just, their health wasn't great. So they didn't have energy. They couldn't focus. They had brain fog. They would start a task and then be like, wait, what was I doing? Oh, I'll do this task over here now, because their health wasn't very good, or they just lacked motivation because their body was signaling them, you don't have energy to take on this task. And your body does give you messages like that. So sometimes when you feel like overwhelmed, frustrated, just like, oh, I can't deal with this, sometimes it is actually a health thing, not a psychological thing. So, something that you can do is just make a list of everything that you think might be wrong with your health and start tackling it. Start looking for information. Of course, go to your doctor. But, your doctor isn't going to be able to fix everything. And you really have to empower yourself to pick up that slack for the things. Your doctor doesn't know everything. They're not all knowing. They're not trained in everything. They don't know very much about chronic illness, for example. They're really good at some things, like surgery, setting broken bones. They're gunshot wounds. They're great at that stuff. But chronic illness, they just don't know everything about how to fix that. But there's so much information out there if you're willing to do some digging and take responsibility for it. I mean, I know personally that's what I did, because mainstream, I wasn't getting anything improved. And on my own, using my own protocols that I, found or put together, I was able to get rid of those 111 symptoms. So that's great, right? And I'm working on the rest. And it's frustrating at times because you're just like, oh, you have to learn so much. And it's like a lot of it's really boring, but it's also, it's your life, it's your health. There's nothing else that's more important than that. Because if you're suffering mentally or physically or both, you can't enjoy your life. You can't even have a life. You can't contribute to the people that you love the way that you otherwise would. So I would say that's number one, health. And then number two is power. People these days feel that they have no power. It's become a situation where most people are kind of okay with it. They're just like, oh, well, I'm just a minion. I have no power. What I think and feel and want just isn't very important. And even if it is important, there's something I can do about it. I have no control. That's like the world we're living in, and it's wrong. It's a wrong thought, and it's what we're taught. So I think that some of that feeling in the air this is Manhattan, right? This is supposed to be the city, the go-getter city and all that. I've been here since 2007, and I've just seen a big change. I've seen a big change in people walking around. I'm not saying that everyone was all like sunshiny and yay. Before, people were stressed, but there was also sort of a sense that, well, if I work hard, I can get somewhere. And I don't know if that's still in the air anymore. I'm definitely getting this feeling that people don't feel they have any power. And it's important to take the power you have and keep the power that's yours as a human being. We're animals, guys. Like, we're not meant to be factory farmed. Animals aren't meant to be factory farmed either. It's cruel. So remember that. That's not your destiny. And do everything you can to fight that. Fight being a factory farmed animal. Do everything that you can in your power. Obviously staying within your laws and all that, to fight back. Because what we are creating is basically a worldwide slavery. It's not just the US, it's the worldwide thing going on where people are really feeling that they don't have freedom of choice. And freedoms are rapidly going away. Freedom of speech is going away. Things are becoming censored very quickly. And a lot of your health choices are going away. You're not being given the option to make certain choices that you used to be able to choose, which is something that you can look into. I'm not going to go into that a lot, but the information's out there. And that's what it's like to be a factory farmed animal. You don't have freedom of choice. You're given whatever the farmer wants to give you, whether they want to give you antibiotics or steroids or hormones or vaccines, whatever they want to give you, they just give you. That animal has no choice, and they only care about fattening you up for your meat. And that's a little bit like what we have going on right now. People just being used as workers with no concern for their happiness and their dreams and what they're meant for. Because everyone has a life purpose that you're meant for. And that's where you're happiest, is when you're living a life that is right for you. And that, you're giving back, you're working hard, but it's in the right way, that it feels like you. It feels like what you're supposed to be doing. And it's stuff that you're good at. And most people like the stuff that you're good at because it just makes you feel good to do stuff you're good at. And other people appreciate it. So you often get a lot of appreciation when you're doing things that you're good at. And you don't have that sort of imposter syndrome or any of that just bad feelings when you're actually good at what you're doing. So I just wish we could get a lot closer to that, because there's no reason not to. There's no reason to have so much control over people to the point that they really can't even have their own lives and their own destiny anymore. And that's the direction we're going. So we really have to make a choice if we're okay with going along with that and, being led into the factory farm where we're told that we'll be kept really safe and we'll, be taken care of in every way. But factory farmed animals, they're taken care of. I mean, have you ever seen a factory farm? Yeah. But yeah, they don't have to worry about not being fed. They have food, but they also have disease. They have no ability to walk around. They're standing in their own doo-doo, that's what happens when you have no power over your own life. And so we have to be careful what rights we're willing to give up. And we have to remember the power that we have. This is a big illusion that we're taught that we don't have any power from the time that we're little kids. And a lot of people's parents teach their kids that you're just a kid, you don't have any power. And then our teachers say, oh, you're just a teenager, you don't have any power. And then your boss says, oh, you're just an employee, you don't have any power. And you can go through your whole life like this, waiting for this moment that you're supposed to get power. And then, oh, you're a senior citizen, so you don't have any power. Well, no one else is going to give that to you. You have to give that to yourself. And you have to stop believing this lie that you're not important, or that you're not loved, or that you're not special enough, or that you don't really have a destiny that you're meant for. We have to stop believing that, because that's just a total lie. It really is. And of course, people tell you that stuff because they want to control you. Your parents want you to not throw a tantrum in the store. So they tell you all kinds of things to control you and get you to be quiet. And your teacher wants you to be easier to manage so that it's not going to help them to empower you. And no, they want you to just sit in your chair and shut up and be quiet and just fill out your worksheet. But what if that's not what you're meant for? You just, oh well, guess I'll give up my life. Guess I'll never be myself. It's a real shame. And then of course your boss doesn't want to empower you. Why would they want to do that? They want you to work, be a good employee. They don't want you to be too ambitious because then you're going to leave the company. So they kind of want to keep you in that place. So you have a lot of forces against you that are trying to keep you down. And you don't have to believe it. Now, I'm not saying that you have to be reckless and go quit your job and, I'm going to go be a ballerina tomorrow. And even though I don't know how to dance, you don't have to be irresponsible or reckless. But you can start right away getting in touch with yourself, with your destiny, with your dreams, with that inner voice that tells you this is who you are. This is really who you are. And you can start doing small things that just allow that to be there, to be the wild animal that you are. Because we're all animals. And I mean, yeah, we're civilized animals, as we should be, because we don't want to harm other people or ourselves, right? So we want to live in a civilized society, but we don't want to live in a factory farm, guys. Like, this is supposed to be America. We're supposed to have freedom. And that's dwindling real quick. And if you're willing to give that freedom away, which most people are because they're scared and they think, well, the farmer knows best, so I'm just going to step right into this factory farm and, you know, at least I'll be fed. Yeah, but what else is going to happen to you, right? So, like, the more responsibility you can take over your own life, the better, but you can only do that if you have self-esteem. And how do you do that if you don't have self-esteem? If you don't feel good about yourself, which most people these days don't feel good about themselves. Let me tell you, it's not just you if you're struggling with that. Almost everybody is so insecure these days, and they're sort of pretending to be confident. They really aren't. And it's not that there's something deficient in most people. It's that they just feel that they're not good enough. It's like they haven't experienced unconditional love at the time in life that you should have it when you're a kid, right? So then most people go through their lives trying to get that feeling of unconditional love, and it's like that time has passed. You're never going to be a baby again who's just, you know, taken care of just because, you know? And a lot of adults are trying to get that experience of feeling that way. And so they're using people and they're harming other people because they're trying to make up for that insecurity that they have. It's really unfortunate, but that's what we're dealing with. I mean, look around, it's everywhere. And people also try to substitute other things for that love that they never had and feel they probably will never get because they're afraid of it. So people will substitute power, and I mean the evil kind of power, not empowered, which is a good thing. When you're empowered, you're being true to yourself, you're helping others. But I mean the evil power where you just want control over other people, the way a factory farm wants control over an animal, the way that a corrupt system wants control over taking away people's rights under the guise of, oh, but we're just trying to help you, which is what they always say. Whether it's an abusive boyfriend or a messed up system, they always say they're trying to help you, right? And if you're insecure, you probably believe them. Oh, well, I sure need help, so that's good. So some people substitute power, other people try to substitute money, conquests. You know, it can be all kinds of things, or even just a sense of perfectionism. A lot of people are perfectionists because they're substituting that for the feeling of being loved. So they think, well, if I can just do everything perfectly, then I'll be valuable somehow or worth it. That doesn't make you worth it. You're already worth it just because you're a human being. You know, that's just your humanity is reason enough to be unconditionally loved. However, it's kind of something for infancy, for childhood, right? That's the time in our lives that we're supposed to be unconditionally loved. And then as we grow and we become, you know, teenagers and adults, then we really do have to become mature about it and realize that you can't act like an infant anymore and expect people to love you, because if you're harming other people, they're not only not going to love you, they're not going to want to be around you. But we actually have a lot of adults these days that are really acting like little kids. And part of it is that they want to be treated like a kid. They want to have that unconditional love, but they're doing it all backwards, you know, because they're doing things that are harming other people and themselves in an attempt to get something that people don't want to give them. Because if someone's being harmful to you, you don't want to love them. You don't even like them, right? And a lot of these people are like sort of stealing emotionally from other people. They're stealing attention. They're being deceptive. They're being manipulative. They're cutting in line in all kinds of ways, which that's a whole other video. But the reason that I say all this is just that I want to. Oh, there's my box. My computer's on a box. Speaking of boxes, don't put yourself in a box, is kind of what I'm saying here, guys. Like, you don't have to give up everything about yourself. You don't have to be miserable. You don't have to just make do. And you also don't have to just reinvent the wheel in one day. You can do this slowly over time, and it's really satisfying because you can start to see changes. And it's a really awesome thing. So I just want to remind everyone that you have power, because you know what? You're an animal, you're a human being. You have a soul, you have a destiny, you have strengths and talents and unique things about you that nobody else has. And you should honor all of that. Listen to it. Listen to that voice in you that's been trying to tell you what you should be doing. There's that voice in everybody that's saying, hello, this is what you're meant for over here. But so often we don't listen to it. And we think, well, that's not what I learned in school. That's not what I learned I'm supposed to be doing. And it's just really hard to listen sometimes. But you can learn how. And that's something that we can work on in coaching. If you want to do coaching with me, and if you can't afford coaching, just keep watching my videos. Take what you can from it. You know, take those baby steps. And you never know. Before you know it, you might be able to afford coaching and then get even faster change. So if you are interested in coaching, my website is yourdreamslifecoach.com, yourdreamslifecoach.com. And you can fill out the contact form and let me know what you're trying to achieve, whether it's a career thing, a relationship thing, whether you're trying to figure out your purpose in life, whether you're trying to figure out what your strengths are. I do a Discover Your Top 2 Strengths assessment that I've developed so that we can very quickly tap into your personality type strengths, because that does apply to your career and to your relationships and just feeling good about yourself, remembering what you're strong in. I'm a big fan of that, because your weaknesses are really kind of irrelevant if you build your life around your strengths. And yeah, you can work on your weaknesses, but they're still never going to be your strengths. So you may as well focus on that. So anyway, I hope that that was interesting. You know, I would just love you guys to start thinking about these ideas I mentioned, like the power that you have, the power that you are willing to give up, the rights you're willing to give up, the dreams you're willing to give up, and step back and, you know, get clear on this stuff and decide if that's really what you want to do, and if there might be some small changes that you can make over time to set your path, set your course a bit differently. You don't have to, you know, dramatically change everything. It's not realistic anyway. You know, these are things that are long term. There are some things you can change right away and you can jump into that you know are right. Like, I'm gonna, you know, sign up for this gym and I'm just gonna go and it's time. There's other things that are slow. I'm gonna start building up a business on the side because I need that main job for now. I don't want to be there forever. So I'm gonna spend a few hours working on my side business or whatever that is for you. It's unique. And then, of course, the other thing is health. Make a list of how, you know, all your symptoms. Make a list of everything that's not perfect about your health, and then take it really seriously. Do a lot of research. You know, find everything you can out about it and look for ways to improve. And of course, ask your doctor. But doctors don't know everything. So take responsibility for that health yourself, because they may not be able to fix it, but that doesn't mean that there's not a fix. That's just reality. Not every person is trained in everything. You know, there's only so much that they can fit into medical school. And then there's a lot of other things out there that they can't. But there's still information out there if you look for it. Okay, guys, I hope this was interesting. Again, my name is Julie Malillo. I'm a life coach here in Manhattan. I've been coaching since 2005. Can you believe that? Time flies. But full-time coaching in Manhattan from 2007 on. And my website is yourdreamslifecoach.com if you are interested in coaching. And please like, comment, subscribe. And thank you so much for watching.